What's good people? Vets, let's talk. We got a special guest in front of the formation today. Staff Sergeant Jermaine Nelson. How you doing, my good brother?
Hey man, I'm good. Happy to be living, bro. How about you?
Man, I'm all right, man. I can't complain. Living in my day. You know what I'm saying? I can't look at my yesterday and try to get anything from it, but at the same time, I'm just pushing for what I need to get from this day. You know how it is, my brother.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So like where you at right now? What state? What city?
I moved back home to Charleston, North Carolina 4 years ago, bro. Working at the post office. Sitting here getting over on the government time like we always used to do in the army.
Hey, you heard it from him, not me. I wasn't getting up. Hey man, how the family doing, bro?
Hey man, everybody all right. I mean, we back home. It seems like everybody pop up now all of a sudden when nobody popping up in Texas.
Yeah, nobody want to spend that money to come see you, but
Yeah,
you gotta come
yeah,
see them. So man,
yeah.
let's jump off into these questions, man. Do you remember where you were during 9/11?
I remember exactly where I was. I was at Bundeswehr, Germany, man. I was in the aviation unit. That's the first time I had been in the field in 2 years. We were digging a foxhole. And man, it's like the first time I come running across the field, and you know how everybody just stopped. And you know how you see somebody running, but like they run in slow motion and they fall about to fall, but they don't fall. And we all just stopped and looked at him like it was about 12 times, looked like he was about to fall, you know what I'm saying? Then he ran over there to us and told us what went down, and everybody just stopped. And then at that time, they had the capability to bring in some TVs over there so we could see what was going on.
Right.
And they brought some television and they showed us what was going on. So everything in the field just stopped that day. And we didn't know what was gonna happen next. They're like, well, this is our area of responsibility. But then none of that changed. They just said, we're gonna be here in our doing our field exercise. Y'all gonna have the German military outside guarding y'all with real rounds, and we inside the perimeter with blanks, and we ain't know what to do.
Oh
So
wow.
it was a mess. Yeah, it was a mess.
That's amazing. I love hearing those stories. Everybody's got a different story on that. You know, this first question I'm gonna ask you, everybody's got the same thing to say about this first question, but what do you remember about your days of service?
Man, it's like 20 years, 20 days, bro. I can tell you, I can remember day one all the way to the last time I took that uniform off in Ramstein, Germany. Man, day one I got there, I sat around on the weekend in that bay for basic training that whole weekend. I missed a shark attack. So once I got to my basic training unit, they drill sergeant just stood there and kept asking me, why you here? Why you here? And I'm like, what I said. And it's like, there's so many days I can't remember. The last day was where I took that uniform off at the hotel in Ramstein, Germany. I looked at my wife and I said, I can't be able to take this uniform off for the last time. I cried that day, man. I
Oh
couldn't
wow.
believe it. Yeah, because it was just a completely. Now I'm out. Yeah, I know I'm gonna get this check, but now what am I gonna do? It was just a totally different way of life for me at the time. And I just didn't know what was next, but it seemed to all work out there.
Hey man, thank you for that, bro. Because usually you get on here, somebody say, "Oh, you know the camaraderie," but nobody shares those fears of peeling off that
Yeah,
layer of skin that you was wearing for years. Especially
yeah,
that what came along with it was, the perks and the rank that you
yeah,
wore. Like people respected you. Like you go home, you get
yeah,
on the airplane. Yeah, I'm in the military. People respect that. And a lot of people they just get on here and say the camaraderie, which is a huge thing, but the fears associated with separating from that thing what you had for many years, bro, is
yeah.
it can be troubling. So what were some of the fears transitioning out of the military, if any?
Well, for me, it was what am I gonna do next? Okay, me and my wife accustomed to this lifestyle. I mean, we had already decided. I think 6 months before I finally signed out, I had 60 days to leave and then another 30 days to listen to TDY. So I knew I had 90 days to come up with something. But we had already decided that we was going to Texas. So I mean, we had been online. We bought the house online. And I was just applying for jobs. And then we went to North Carolina. We were driving back to Texas. because we flew into Baltimore and they flew us home. And then from North Carolina, we drove to Texas. And as we were driving back, I got a phone call about a job interview at the elementary school, Reese's Creek Elementary. I'll never forget it. And that's where I started at, man. I started working with special needs kids, bro. And it was beautiful. It was a beautiful job, man. It was. And that was what, 4 years? No, 4 years. 4 years. I did that for 4 years. It was beautiful.
You know, that's amazing, because when I was on the job market, I was subbing to see if I wanted to be a teacher, and all I did was the needs. And
yeah,
a lot of people think, you know, you go downrange, you know, Iraq, for a lot of people don't know what downrange is, and they think that it'll be life-changing, which it is. But once you come across a different demographic of people and see that your abilities versus their abilities, and you think like, what I got going on is nothing compared to what they have going on.
Yeah.
It's like, it's different. Like, man, this person can't do this, and that person can't, this person can't speak. It just makes you look at life a little different.
Yeah.
So once out, how hard was it for you to adjust to civilian life?
Man, at first it was, because before I started working at that school, I went to college for a little while. And for me, it was not having to really, I got to go to class, but I don't have to go to class, versus being at formation at 6:30 in the morning from PT. So, I mean, that right there was the biggest adjustment of everything. I mean, and for me, I started drinking real heavy, but then once my wife sat down and talked to me, and once I realized what was going on, I kind of stopped that. I slowed that way down and kind of got myself together. I went through a little counseling at the VA, and I'm not ashamed to admit that I went through a little counseling at the VA, because the Fort Hood I left in 2010 came, compared to the Fort Hood I came back to 2014, it was totally different for me. I left as a soldier, I come back as a retired civilian, and everything is totally different now. The way they do things is totally different. So I had to adjust. But once I got a few counseling sessions in, and they were mainly, it wasn't about the alcohol, it was mainly about adjusting to that life. It was I picked it up and it ended up being pretty good, honestly.
That's good. Most people out there, like, okay, you adjusted, but and that had to take part of some type of healing process, right? Because it was some things that you wasn't really used to.
Yeah.
So, but like, what advice would you give to somebody out there? I know this is not part of the thing that I put on. As far as healing, what would you tell somebody that's fresh out, 20 years, you know, not even 20 years, some people 5-6 years, and they have the mindset like, what I'm gonna do the unseen circumstances?
Well, I remember I had a guy I went to basic with. He got out at 99. He had a plan. I mean, I didn't think his plan worked. He had a foolproof plan. He went and got a job, a part-time job. He was a full-time student. He was in the reserves. I mean, his plan worked to perfection for him. Me, I did the ACAP and everything. I'm like, okay, I'm retired. I just take whatever comes along. Luckily for me, stuff did come along. But I would say, and I think my mistake was I retired in Germany and moved to Fort Hood, versus if I'd have been at Fort Hood when I retired, I could have already been networking for jobs. So I guess my suggestion to everybody is, once you know you're getting ready to retire, you know you're getting ready to get out, make sure you know where you're going and start networking in that area before you start the transition phase, about 5-6 months before. Versus me, I'm doing the transition phase. I'm on leave, and I'm doing the job applications while I'm on leave, when I should have been doing them 5-6 months beforehand. So I would say, just make sure you do it. You do it like about 5-6 months beforehand. Yeah, it worked for me. I didn't miss a beat. Like I said, I had 90 days, basically 90 days leave. I was still getting paid for it. But make sure you got a foolproof plan if you start working about 6 months before you get out.
Right. See, that networking, there's that networking again. You have to, That's something I just went straight into school full time.
Yeah,
But just like he said, you ain't gotta go. Like you gotta show up to formation, but you ain't gotta go
yeah.
to school.
You ain't gotta go to school. And the thing about me, where I got lucky was at the elementary school, it was like the principal, everybody was at some form, some shape or form. They were all military affiliated. Like the principal and one of the vice principal. They were one of the principals, she was former Air Force, vice principal, retired Army. The other three principals, military spouses. So it was all, and everybody in the school just about either military, they were either former military or military spouses. So everybody, it was affiliated. So that made it a lot easier because everybody at some point in time knew what I went through, and we all went through the same stuff. So that made it a lot easier for me, especially when it came to that.
So
Everybody, pretty much everybody was at some point with the military.
so the language is kind of the same then. It's,
Yeah.
military town, so
Yeah.
so a lot of people here that work in these jobs are sometimes all military.
Yeah. Now here, Lord have mercy. This is a different ball game.
So did that take some adjusting? Like all around all these civilians? And
right. I'm 4 years into it and I'm still adjusting every day. I'm telling you, my bosses, co-workers, it take a lot just for me not to snap back into Sergeant Nelson. It's a few, it's like 4 or 5 former military in here. And I can see them sometimes, they can see me sometimes, and we just be shaking. Yeah, we be shaking sometimes, but boy, I'm telling you, it takes something. It takes a lot.
It's different. I'm telling y'all out there now, it's different. When you ain't around them people that was in a uniform, they don't quite understand. Like, like the directness behind you and who you been, they don't understand none of that. Everything has to be like, well, why did you? And you be like, you just shake your head.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hey, so okay, with that being said, do you think the military gave you the tools to be motivated, even if it didn't seem like there was going to be a favorable outcome?
Bro, yes. It taught me that no matter what, if you keep trying, eventually you're going to get to where you want to go. As long as you are trying, you're going to get there. Just keep trying, keep pushing. Yeah, you might fall, but get back up and keep pushing. That's what, and I'm telling you, it works. It does. There's always a way to get it done. Even like when I was working with special needs kids, okay, sit back. He learns different. Figure out how he learned. Figure out how she learned. Now apply that to help them. I mean, everything, all that, I mean, all of it just said, there is a way. You just have to dig deep and find it and keep pushing.
Man, my man, that was big. And I'm glad he sat back and said that, because every fall, it comes with a stand. You see your fall, you have to, in a way, embrace it, learn from it, and come out the other end dry, because you can't come out of the storm the same way. If you forever dry, that's why I said in the beginning, living in my day. Yesterday I learned from it, but today I have to do something with what I learned and move forth with a positive note, because coming out of the military, being or going through certain things, you always have to be in a certain mind frame of some type of motivation, inspiration, or trying to help somebody, pull somebody from that goes in the stance of leadership, helping others progress, changing the mindset of which we thought. And just like he said with the alcohol thing, we drown ourselves in that because of the direction. And it's a lot of other factors behind that, but it's mainly like the direction. Hey man, thank you, bro. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your continued service. Hey, that post office, just don't go postal on no poke, bro.
Oh nah, they ain't gonna happen up here. I'm good.
I appreciate you, bro. Really. I thank your family, bro, because your wife actually served with you. I don't know, a lot of people don't recognize them for that. I headaches, they headaches, the same.
Yeah,
they
always on the back burner. Your family come last.
Yeah, I would like to get a spouse on here one day. But I appreciate you, bro. Hey, who's up next for formation? I'm looking for to have more conversation as opposed to me, asking questions. The conversation about some things, especially the healing portion, because a lot of people like to talk about that trauma. I want to get somebody on here to talk about healing. How you healing at the end of the day? Because a lot of the times, once we talk about the trauma, it kind of revisits things and something, not all people, but some people's mind. And a lot. I'm not a doctor or anything, and I'm telling you not to take your medications that your doctor has prescribed you, but a lot of times those medications that you take cause more problems than what it's worth, physical and mental. But hey, that's not for me to decide. That's up for you guys to decide. The bottle is not a medication. Please believe me, that can lead up to other things health-wise too.
Yeah.
And certain type of thinking, man. But I appreciate you guys for listening. Let's talk. Who's up next for formation?